Hey everyone, welcome to Inside Indiana Overtime. I'm Seth Tao, joined by Taylor Lehman of the Hoosier.com because Ben's not here. We're at Assembly Hall. Indiana just beat Illinois 78-68, and it really took us kind of hanging on in the second half. Illinois was charging in the second half. It was overall just a sloppy game, really, for both teams.
Yeah, it's very slow. I mean, there's 8 minutes to go, and we were already 2 hours into the game. I was like, man, when's it going to end? But there were a lot of free throws, and IU shot them well, which is very different than when they were in Champaign and lost.
Yeah, that was the first matchup was one of their worst free throw shooting efforts of the season. Tonight was a lot better. They shot 69% at the line tonight, which, that's still not fantastic, but, given how poorly they've shot at the line this season, you'll take it. But they shot very well in terms of shooting percentage. I think it was their best shooting percentage of the season so far. They shot like 59% tonight.
Yeah, that would be the best. I mean, coming off of that Minnesota game when they had their second best, basically they're tied for the best of the season since Howard. And they've had a couple really good shooting performances, and it wasn't just a few players either. Multiple people. I think there were 5 players in double digit scoring. So, I mean, it was a very good offensive performance when you don't look at the turnovers. Like with 18 turnovers, that you don't want to say it's a good offensive performance when you turn the ball over 18 times.
Right. It was very sloppy, but if you can be sloppy and efficient at the same time,
it's true.
That's what tonight was for Indiana, because they had 5 players scoring double digits, and really they were all on pretty good efficient shooting lines. JaJuan Morgan was the worst of them at 4 of 8. But, Robert Johnson 5 of 9, Al Durham 5 of 6, Josh Newkirk 4 of 6, Justin Smith 5 of 7, and those are all really efficient lines, and you'll take that every game, especially for some of these guys like Al Durham and Josh Newkirk, who really have been struggling. This was Newkirk's first double-digit scoring game in 8 games, and he really needed it. He wasn't fantastic. He had 3 turnovers. Robert Johnson had 6 turnovers by himself. But
he had 4 in the first half.
Right, yeah. He had 4 in the first half, 6 total for the game. But shooting-wise, overall offensively, I think this was the type of game that Josh Newkirk needed.
Yeah, I'm seeing Devante Green go down. That was not very encouraging. He's on a good roll. He was really helping carry the offense in the beginning of the Minnesota game. You were wondering what this specific offense in these few games would look like without a Devante Green. Josh Newkirk came in and really replaced him really well. It's almost a combination between him and Al Durham, trying to replace Devante Green. But Josh Newkirk specifically, I remember seeing him on a play where he was on the outside and he was just dribbling, and I'm like, okay, when's he going to pass it off? Like he usually does, but he brings it all the way around the baseline and ends up, going up and over and getting it in the basket. I was like, wow, that was so surprising. We haven't seen that from Josh Newkirk in so long.
He looked a lot more confident out there tonight, and I think it was one of those things where, you start hitting some shots, you start feeling it a little more and getting back into that rhythm. But we can't not talk about the game JaJuan Morgan had. This is pretty much a regular discussion on these videos, but tonight was exceptional. 14 points isn't his best effort by far in terms of scoring, but 14 points, 10 rebounds, his 8th double-double of the season. But defensively, 5 blocks and 4 steals. he was just outstanding tonight.
It was mostly defensive. We've seen these games offensively from him, but it was like the defense. JaJuan Morgan's defense was very dominant. He seemed like he owned the post on the Illinois side of the court. No matter which possession it was, he seemed like he was the guy they had to get past. They couldn't get past him. And I remember one block when the shooter was fouled, but they threw it up and he swatted it out and just kind of like looked around like, this is my part of the court. Like, don't come around here.
And it wasn't easy sledding because LaRon Black for Illinois was causing a lot of problems inside. He got his. He got 20 points tonight on an 8 of 12 line, but JaJuan Morgan still had a great game despite that, and he's just been so big this season regardless of the matchup. Really, you can stick him in there against any big, and he has. He went up against Bonzi Colson earlier in the year. He played well against Marvin Bagley. He's I mean, Archie said it after the game that Archie started the campaign really for
Yeah.
JaJuan Morgan to be a first team all conference player, and I mean really he deserves it. I mean he's having that exceptional of a season.
Yeah, Archie Miller said, if he's not first team all conference, then maybe it's their record that holds him back. They aren't necessarily an Ohio State or Michigan State type of team as far as the record goes, but JaJuan Morgan, he looks like a first team all Big Ten kind of guy, and if he doesn't make first team all Big Ten, maybe it is because of the record. Who knows? But Archie Miller said, he like you said, he really did start the campaign for first team all Big Ten. JaJuan Morgan did.
Yeah, you mentioned Devante Green earlier. He went down in the second half, took kind of an aggressive foul near half court. An Illinois player just kind of ran into him. He went down hard, was holding his knee, was walking gingerly. He shot the free throws, but was clearly struggling to keep up defensively. And when they came back down on offense, he was yanked from the game, didn't end up coming back. The thing that struck me, he wasn't really getting that much medical attention on the sideline, but there were plays where IU would make a basket, and everybody on the bench would kind of stand up and cheer, but Devante Green was the only one that wouldn't stand up.
Yeah.
So look, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to play doctor here, but that to not have him would be brutal. But if Newkirk can play decent, at least.
Yeah.
As long as Newkirk's not being brutal and giving games away like he has at some points this year, they might be okay.
Like you said, the injury didn't look good, and it didn't look super bad, but it didn't look promising either. So I mean, if Josh Newkirk can have games similar to the game that he had tonight, I think it'll be okay. But I don't know if he's going to be able to, convert the plays that Devante Green is able to convert. And there were a couple of really bad decisions by Josh Newkirk tonight too. I mean, no matter how good of a game he still had some really rough decisions and just some really bad turnovers. He had two in 9 minutes of play. I remember seeing. You just got to stay away from that if he wants to be able to replace Devante Green and as well as possible. He's going to have to stay away from the turnovers and just play him.
And again, we don't know anything about this injury. Devante Green could, for all we know, end up starting at Iowa on Saturday, but we'll see what happens with that. And I guess one of the other points I wanted to hit was defensively. They played very well against Trent Frazier today, who really dominated. It was him and Black that played really well in Champaign in January. But IU defended Trent Frazier pretty well tonight. I mean, he shot 5 of 14. That's solid. I mean, for a freshman who's going to keep putting up shots, they did pretty well tonight. Only held them to 12 points, and really, I think that was one of the keys for tonight was they couldn't let Trent Frazier beat them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just looking at their defense was going to have to be very strong tonight because of the turnovers that they committed, and the defense came through when it needed to the most. I mean, there's still times when they scored easily, and times when they fouled too often. Also the officials were a little bit inconsistent too, but the defense really did come up when it had to. Yeah,
so Indiana moves to 15-12 overall in the season, 8-7 in Big Ten play. The win clinches a bye for them in the Big Ten tournament, so they will not play until at least Thursday. They technically could still get a double bye, but it's highly improbable because they're sitting 3 spots. There are 3 teams. They'd have to jump ahead of 3 teams to do that with just 3 games remaining, and they're 3 games behind Nebraska in the standings. So Indiana would have to win out and get a lot of help if they were going to get a double bye. Highly unlikely, but they won't have to play on Wednesday in the Big Ten tournament with the win tonight against 78-68 final. Illinois drops to 12-15, 2-12 in the Big Ten. And Indiana's next game will be on the road on Saturday against Iowa. I will not be there. Ben's not going to be there.
I will also not be there.
Yes, Iowa's far. But we will still have coverage for you from that. And be sure to watch out for the rest of our coverage from this game as well. But for now, for Taylor Lehman, I'm Seth. Thank you for watching. And enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day.